Yoi. I'm here watching as I mess around in Cyberpunk. Can you hear me this time? Nope. Still no. Still nothing. And Cyberpunk is awesome. About to jump back in on next gen. Well shit, I've tried my 3D headset mic and my controller mic and still nothing.
Oh, well, fuck. Seriously? Was that it?
Was that it? Is it good now?
Of Cyberpunk is so well worth it, and the
Oh.
upgrade is free.
Okay, I think I got it. I don't know. Let's see.
I heard you then.
Oh my god. So I finally I solved the mystery then. Outstanding. I feel it's a major victory. I feel kind of dumb though. It was muted in the broadcast option. So, Yeah, I have the next gen upgrade of Cyberpunk. I've only played the last gen one. I haven't got back into it since the upgrade.
Boss,
But I do
happy
have it.
birthday.
Oh shit, she's right. It is my birthday. God damn. How did I fucking forget? I've never heard him say that before. Happy boss. Happy birthday. Wow, I've had this game since before it launched. I actually got an advanced copy, and I've never heard the fucking happy birthday boss shit. That's astounding. So I take it, it's fixed then, and you can hear me now?
So I take it you can hear me finally, lol.
Boss, got time to train with me?
My favorite change is you can change appearance with the mirror finally, like hair, nails, makeup, facial hair, for male Vs, etc.
Oh shit, really?
Thanks for that, boss.
That is like what I've been wanting to be able to do the whole time. Yeah, I've been waiting to be able to change the appearance somehow. I mean, not that my V is not completely fabulous, but you know, sometimes you just get that wild hair and you want to change shit. So I totally feel you.
We're here
My
for you.
V could probably win a goddamn beauty contest, but yeah, everybody wants to change it every now and then. Options are always nice. Always nice.
Yay. I'm here watching as I mess around in Cyberpunk. I heard you then. So I take it you can hear me finally, lol. My favorite change is you can change appearance with the mirror finally, like hair, nails, makeup, facial hair, for male Vs, etc.
Wow.
I hear you can buy
YouTube
additional
just totally
apartments at
flipped
some
out.
point in the game too.
It just read our whole chat log. That was outstanding. Oh, that would be great. I was always kind of...
Yes, for Joy Division, that's one of the greatest songs of all time.
I was always hoping you could sort of have like a Grand Theft Auto-esque apartment buying system. Oh yeah, this game's soundtrack is amazing. But the something about the soundtrack though, it really makes you think about the whole premise of the game. I don't know how far you've gotten in it, and I don't want to, just spoilers ahead, I guess, warning, disclaimer. But
Boss, no matter who you are, you're still my CO.
the whole brainwashing body double thing, fuckery going on. It's really hard to tell in this game what's real and what's not, because just like Ocelot brainwashed himself to believe that you are the real big boss. He knows no better. He does not know any better. He literally hypnotized himself into a certain reality. So it's hard to tell what's real and what's not, because your character thinks what he thinks, because that's what he has been, it's what's been implanted in there. So,
Yum.
even
I'm here watching as I mess around in
Even the
Cyberpunk.
year could be
My favorite
screwed
change is you can change appearance with the mirror finally, like hair, nails, makeup, facial
Awesome.
hair, for male Vs, etc. I hear you can buy
Man, it is
additional
really gonna
apartments
read
at
our
some point in
whole
the
chat
game
log
too.
every time.
Yes, for Joy Division, that's one of the greatest songs of
But
all
yeah,
time. I already know the general plot of who the real big boss is.
but yeah, even something as benign as the year, what year it is, might not even be real. So the soundtrack makes me question if it's really 1984. Why, might you ask? Because some of these songs weren't released until 1986, 1985. I believe there's even one song that didn't come out until 1990. Let's see, I know which one it is, I just don't remember right off the top of my head. Let's see. Oh yeah, Friday I'm in Love. I believe this song came out in 1990. I could be wrong, but last I checked, I believe it's 1990. And then one of the other songs is 85, and another song is 86. I mean, it could be an oversight from Kojima, but that's not something he usually does. He's usually very on point with world building. But I think very easily they just needed you to believe an internal timeline, and like Paz, when she the whole hallucination of Paz you have, how she has an internal timeline that is inflexible to achieve. It was kind of haywire, and she won't acknowledge it. So I think maybe Venom has some of that going on. Maybe he has an internal timeline. He believes it's 1984, and if anything conflicts with that, he just won't acknowledge it. I think that this game could very well be set in 86. Actually, I think it could be set in anywhere between 85 and 1990. It could be set as late as 1990.
That was indeed a 1990s song.
Yeah, I thought so. So this game, in my opinion, the Phantom Pain could be set as late as 1990. If we put it 5 years before the Outer Heavens incident.
Roger. This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. On station at LZ. Gaining altitude.
Next up, Smashing Pumpkins song Zany Face.
Right? So I just feel like that's a little tidbit of misdirection there, possibly, in terms of the timeline. Just something neat to think about. Maybe people to discuss. I don't know. I think people already have discussed it. I mean, I'm sure NBGO has discussed damn near everything about this game so far. However, and I finally broke my overall completion 95% Stonewall. Stuck at 95 forever. So we finally cracked 96%. Oh well. Wonder if I will ever make it to 100. I swear to God that...
Imagine listening to a 2026 song in 2022. What is time even?
That last animal to catch to get the 100% is gonna kill me, because I cannot get that damn thing. I've been playing forever, and I just can't get another one of the animals to capture Cage. It's just not happening. But yeah, time. That's actually a good observation and question in and of itself. I mean, every day, metaphysics become more and more proven in the arena and realm of accepted science. So, who really fucking knows, I guess, at this point, what time is. I think there's probably a lot we don't know about the nature of our entire reality. Deep. I think we fell into the deep end on that one.
Please select a mission. Unit dispatched. Unit dispatched.
There is part of the Ghost of Tsushima DLC I cannot get past, like an arena fighting section. That's the only reason why I won't 100 the D.
Unit dispatched.
I hate it when that happens.
Please
What mission
select a
should we
mission.
do tonight? Should we do a side up to warm up, or just jump straight into a mission? Yeah, that really bugs me when I get a game that I love, and then I just get completely stonewalled stuck on a part and can't get that last few percent needed for the platinum, or whatever, or what have you. Which one is it?
The objective is to rescue and extract a mujahid captured by the Soviets. He's being held in the ruins of Lamar Khati Palace, as are a lot of POWs. Civilians, guerrillas, suspected guerrillas. The Soviets have turned the place into their own black site. However, we've only been asked to rescue one of the prisoners. He's known as Malak, angel to his fellow mujahideen. The client is none other than his father. Or rather, this was his father's dying wish. The Mujahideen's arsenal against the Soviets is secretly supplied by the CIA, but the war continues to drag on with neither side gaining the advantage. Now though, the CIA have started supplying the guerrillas with a new weapon.
I did 100 on the main game, so it really did disappoint me. That arena has almost like a completely different game in itself, and the hard S.
I'm not really, to say I'm familiar with what you're talking about would be a lie. Because honestly, I've heard great things about that game. But to be completely truthful with you, I have not played it yet myself. So, in truth, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I do sort of empathize with the parameters wares of what you're talking about. Because when you get a game and you completely smash the main game, 100% it, and then the DLC comes out and it's like almost alien to the game, to the original game anyhow, in terms of gameplay or content or theme or tone even. Yeah, it can be off-putting for sure. So I feel that. Yeah, let's take a Metal Gear out to the field with us. Why not? Let's see. If we need anything else, we'll just drop it in as we go.
Nearly perfect game in my opinion. I didn't include that small section of the DLC in my future episodes. The DLC is not alien at all other way.
That's good then. It is neat to throw in some different shit in DLC sometime though. Like if it's just that part of it, then I find that acceptable because you know, throw people some different things every once in a while. Doesn't hurt to mix it up. It's just people might be a bit angry if the whole DLC was totally different.
Boss, locate and bring back the U.S.
But I've
military's
heard
new
great
weapon
things about that
codenamed
game though.
Honeybee. The CIA put it in the hands of the
I guess I
Hamid
just
group of
haven't
Mujahideen. But the Hamid fighters were wiped out. The Honeybee must still be hidden at their base. The fort at Desmasi Laman.
I'm weird like that. I get
The Soviets are looking for the weapon as
I'll
well.
get stuck on certain games.
To it before
There
they
are
do.
certain games,
Bring it back here.
certain series
There's
that
a photo of the target on your
iconic to
iDroid.
me, and I just
One
can never
more
put
thing.
them down like Metal
Apparently
Gear.
one of the Hamid fighters survived. He's missing. But if you can find him, he might lead us to the
But there are
target.
certain games
Good
when
luck,
they
boss.
come out that I just have to play them. Like right now, I've got Dying Light 2 and the Elden Ring that I still have to play. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Be careful down there, boss.
I just played a lot over that animal.
You need to retrieve the new U.S. military weapon known as the Honeybee. It should be hidden somewhere in Smasi Fort. There's a photo of the Honeybee on your iDroid.
Let's see. Shall we go through the mountain relay base? Or, well, I guess we have to go through the mountain relay base. Can't really, there's no way to go up and around the mountain range. Blocks it off. And that's the,
All the
And
other new elements in the
that's the,
DLC are awesome, even if
limits
I don't
of this
use some
mission.
of them. You can use your horse in battle, but it's not my style.
right? I totally understand that. I love games that give you the ability to sort of make it your own in terms of style and gameplay. Much respect for knowing your limits and what you like and what you're good at. I wouldn't compromise my style either just for the sake of, oh, this is shiny and new. Hey, if it works and you've got it down and it gives you the best results, I'm all about it. Well, there's almost no reason to go up here, one would think, since you can't get over there, but Maybe there's some intel up here. Who knows? We got a guard post here.
Marker placed.
And a guard post
Marker
here.
placed.
Might as well hit them since we're up here. I suppose.
Enemy presence detected.
Pulling those recruits, like Miller said. Happy birthday to me. Whoa! Holy shit. Well, there goes my perfect stealth. Oh well. I'm already wearing a suit that keeps me from getting an S ranking anyhow, so no big deal. And we're really just playing for fun right now. And a bit of story.
Clouds
And
approaching.
exploration.
Where are your friends?
And to up my PF ranking. So, it's all good. All good. Oh, you're still asleep? Shit.
Don't move. Speak. Where are your friends?
The map has been updated. Analysis complete.
Oh, you can stay.
Analysis complete.
Actually, no, you know what? I send people out on so many missions that they die so often.
Cyberpunk is a 100 in
I
the
could use
way.
A++.
Nearly any gamer will find gear/loadout that works for their playstyle.
I agree. I will co-sign and 100% agree with that statement about
He's coming
Cyberpunk
too. Roger
and
that.
playstyle. Absolutely. Goodbye.
You gotta extract him.
Oh yeah, why the fuck am I walking? Guy's over here, robot. Whoa, did he just utilize a wormhole or some shit? God damn. Your head ain't right, Snake. Your head ain't right.
Extraction arrived at base. Enemy presence detected. Map has been updated.
Ooh.
Oh, god damn it. You off it. Oh, you off it. Heal, boy, heal. Oh, no. Fly right through the goddamn post there. Oh, shit.
Analysis complete.
Alright. See if we can hear them talking about anything related to
Analysis complete.
the mission parameters. Always like to use I've always loved eavesdropping on the soldiers here in
Analysis
Metal Gear.
complete.
A friend of mine is doing a stealthy/hacker/non-lethal run, while I go loud, lethal, often up front and tanky.
Yeah, I mainly rely on my gorilla arms, my pistols, and a vast array of other firearms. So I can feel you there. I can totally feel you there. But sometimes I'll break out the Manus blades, but I'm typically not very quiet with them. I usually just hack people up, I guess, for better lack of explanatory verbatim. I think that's all of them. No, that can't be all of them. That's only 3. There's always more than 3 soldiers at a post. There are always more than 3. There we go.
Analysis complete.
Oh, that might be all of them. Sometimes there's 5 though, so you have to be careful.
Apparently one of the Hamid fighters survived. You might know
I have literally only those original 3 points in hacking, and I love how the game doesn't make me hack just because.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, I do it sometimes. I typically don't do it in combat, but I'll do it to get money and shit. I don't even know if that's the same skill or the same thing, but yeah, I typically don't hack very often in combat. And I do agree, it's nice how you're not pigeonholed into doing something that you may either not want to do or just not feel personally comfortable in your skills and ability in doing so. So it's nice to not be forced to do that. Okay, so I think we're gonna go down and pay a visit. Looks like there's only 4. This is our best point of egress and entry. Exfil and infill.
Marker removed.
Let's see.
Ты помнишь того парня, который уехал со взводом пополнения?
Иван Иванович Иванов. Тихий, малый. Небось, какой-нибудь фанат фантастики?
Он оставил книгу, английскую новеллу под названием 1984.
Что, она выпущена в этом году?
А нет, ее написали лет 30 назад.
My current loadout, very early in the game so far, is to go ride in with legendary power pistol loaded with crunch mods.
Автор англичанин, так что я не думаю, что мы герои. Скорее всего, мне будет написано, что коммунизм это зло. Может, он решил, что капиталистический мир...
Yeah, you gotta love those crunch mods
Не
and
то чтобы
the power pistols.
единый коммунист, но это...
Ладно, мне пора.
Удачи.
I've made it pretty far into the game, but I'm gonna probably end up restarting to the next gen version. Got a great story. I won't say anything about it, but it's amazing from a narrative standpoint, in my opinion. I've got nothing bad to say about it. And I have much respect for the work they've put in to make it a much more palatable experience than it was when it first launched, especially on consoles. So, big thumbs up to CD Projekt Red. Woohoo!
I plan to change
Been
up my
deployed
whole
for
look,
12 months.
loadout after the heist.
He's ready for a goat, let alone a fucking blonde American woman. Look at these stems. Oh man. Did you guys fuck up or what? Oh yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if you know how the heist goes or what happens, but that totally makes sense that he or she would change drastically. I suppose. Oh damn, you were awake.
Hands up.
Sorry about that. A little bit more of an ass kicking than I guess you really needed.
Spit it out. Where are your friends?
The map has been updated.
Нет, не делай этого. Spit it out. Where are the others?
The map has been updated.
Okay. Well, do we wanna... Yeah, I'll be back to you guys. I'll be back.
I don't know. I've shielded myself from story spoilers. I love the idea of my V changing as a person over time like we all do realistically.
Okay. Alright, yeah, I feel that too. Yeah, it's an amazing story. That's all I'll say. Wish I could discuss it more because it's just fucking great. But I really respect not being spoiled. As a lover of well-written narratives myself, that's like fucking.
Ты слышал истории о человеке с одним глазом?
Ага. Что много положил наших ребят. Он душман?
Нет. Но я слышал, что его прислали американские империалисты в поддержку душмана. Кто-то из выживших рассказывал, что у него на голове рог, и что он сражается, как одержимый демон.
Рогатый мужик? Да он, небось, не паниковал, съел с катушек.
Может быть.
Yeah, but as a lover of well-written narratives myself, being spoiled is almost sacrilege.
Will change over time too. I want to do a ton of experimenting with different weapons and cybernetics.
Being spoiled is definitely sacrilege to someone who loves a good story. Yeah, well, the last I checked, there was a good amount, even back in the day, to experiment with. I don't know if they've added anything new, but even as it was, there was plenty to experiment with, for sure.
Hands up on the ground. Talk.
Weather will
Where are your
clear
friends?
shortly. The map has been updated. Guard post captured.
Spit it out.
He's coming too. Roger that.
With my clothes I'm doing mostly armadillo with Coolet.
What is your background? Like, are you a street kid, or a corpo, or a nomad?
Where are your friends?
Street kid.
Yeah, that's what I picked too.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Yeah, that's my first playthrough as well. So, you're gonna experience everything exactly how I did. Well, for the most part, dependent on your choices, anyhow. But it'll be similar to the things that I saw. I love how the whole meme about Big Boss being supernaturally fast in the very first Metal Gear boss fight translated to Kojima making him ridiculously fast once upgraded in this game. That is just a ridiculous sprint right there. And the fact that he can keep it up, like, he can keep it up infinitely. Like, he never gets winded is just awesome. What a meme. Alright. Where was that other guard post at? We can take this. We can take this trail to it.
I have heard that your choices affect your story and shape the city. I'm looking forward to how that plays out.
Oh shit, I left those other guys behind, it looks like. Damn it. Yeah, it does have a pretty good system of choice. It's not bad at all.
Elements like that
Certainly not shabby.
Everyone's playthrough will be entirely unique to them.
Like, there are some story beats that are absolutely set in stone that relate to Street Kid, Nomad, and Corpo. So there are some things that I saw that you're absolutely going to see. It's just, there's no way around it. Your choice is taken away at a few places in the game. Like, there's some things that just cannot be stopped, and they're going to happen, unfortunately, no matter how hard you try. So you're going to encounter some things I did, but in regards to other things, yeah, you can absolutely shape it, and it's completely, there's a lot of choice, and things can change, you know, the world changes to how you interact with it. So that's all I can really say about that at the moment. Okay, yeah, we were on point.
Extraction arrived at another base. Please select a drop point. Supplies requested. Supply drop complete.
Enter Smase Fort. Once you're there, look for the target.
My current V, in my mind, is a street kid born and bred in Haywood/Watson.
Yeah, the Haywood areas and Watson itself as well is pretty interesting. It's a pretty good choice. I can't knock that. There's a lot you could do with that from a narrative fan fiction viewpoint. Or there's, I mean, just headcanon. There's a lot you could do with that. It's a very rich area.
Intercept mode.
To say the least. Oh, no, no, no. Don't just randomly murder people. Metal Gear? No. I wanted you to come here, not kill. Yeah, you're damn right, murder mode, disengaged. God damn. Oh yeah, that was the perfect time for a, there we go.
She dresses and such like it too. As her life changes, her style and what choices she makes will change. Like, what would my V do? Not me.
The map has been updated.
See, big respect for that, because every character I make, or every character I write, a part of me ends up in them, so it's weird. I guess, I end up being an influence to varying different extents on my characters. But I can relate though, because I sometimes make other characters, and I'm not a part of them at times. So that's very cool.
Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Analysis complete. Caution. Sandstorm approaching.
Perfect. Let's hit these three with the sandstorm.
Every time it starts with my character being a bit like me, but they turn into their own living person in my creative world. The make there.
Oh yeah, of course, because they eventually encounter things that you yourself have not. And you really could only, even if you did still want to infuse yourself, the only thing you can do at that point is ask yourself, oh, what do I think I would do? Well, thinking what you would do and what you actually would end up doing in certain life or death or situations like that are two different things, two very different things. I can tell you from personal experience in theater over in our wars of terror. I won't say on terror. I mean, there was terror on both sides there, but that's a depth I don't want to get into really right now. But yeah, you saying what you think you would do and what you would actually do in a situation is totally different. So I totally get that. So writing that headcanon from her point of view when she's hit with those choices is absolutely a better way to go from a writer's standpoint, I suppose. So I totally feel that. I like that. I like that vibe.
Последние новости. Да, пришел дать нам больше оружия. Например, мы получим дробовики и пулеметы. Это уж совсем неплохо.
Yeah, my V has a Haywood attitude, and I cannot relate to that personally.
So hard to tell if the sleeping gas is cleared with the sandstorm. There goes nothing. Nope, I guess I'm good. Yeah, right? The closest you could probably get to that is, oh, Haywood. The closest you could probably get to that in the real world, I assume, would maybe be living in East LA. I don't know how East LA is anymore, but I know in the 90s it would have been somewhat a fit. Certainly less violent. Well, most things are less violent than the cyberpunk world. But Haywood has a real Latin feel. It's very, very authentic. I haven't spent a lot of time in Latin cities and countries and around different people of different Hispanic heritages. And it's really authentic. It's a good vibe. I like it. Which I hope I'm talking about the right place. If I'm
East LA for sure.
Yeah.
I've heard Cyberpunk is fictionally set in California.
Yeah, I about think it has to be. Just from I'm pretty sure it is too. There's a lot of talk of Texas and other places sort of in that corridor. But I'm pretty sure that Night City is definitely in California. Oh, this guy's gonna be a dick. When they don't turn blue, they'll turn around and try to stab you.
Where are the others?
The map has been updated. Guard post captured.
Too. Roger that.
Don't talk. Where are your friends? Where are your friends?
You gotta extract him.
Oh god, I love faulting them when they're conscious and they're not asleep or knocked out. It's fucking hilarious.
Leave the rest to us.
It's just never gotten old for me. And, the humor of faulting these dudes when they're awake is just never worn off.
Я не хочу умирать!
Spit it out. Where are the
Oh
others?
yeah? You're gonna be difficult, huh? I won't even give you nap time. I'm just gonna fucking send you up. Have fun. Have a nice trip. Yeah, I bet you wish you would have cooperated now. That anesthetic needle sounded nice right about now, huh, buddy? Alright, now we can take this trail down and head back to the mountain relay. So...
Marker placed. Marker placed. Marker placed. Marker placed.
Maybe she'll become less cynical in the future, but for now she has a hard time trusting the core or many of the gangs. I figure many and he.
Yeah, that's typically how they, that's typically their worldview, in my, experience so far with the game, and with the world of Cyberpunk in general, even in other media. And my god, you haven't even got to it yet, but Johnny Silverhand is amazing. Just an amazing fucking character and character arc. He almost steals the show from V, in my opinion. But your story,
Haywood and Watson would feel the same.
Your story and his sort of get woven together, somewhat, so to speak, without going too in depth. So I'll leave it at that. It's Johnny Silverhand, fucking awesome. As is his story and character arc.
I haven't met him yet, but I know he comes at some point.
Yeah, very close. You're, where are you exactly right now? Like, what's the last thing you did, or what are you doing at this moment?
I'm doing missions for Regina, and not yet to the heist itself.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you can do a lot of Regina missions and end up pretty leveled up before you even undertake the heist, which is my, I recommend that, actually. I recommend trying to level up all you can before you undertake the heist. I mean, not that it's super hard or anything, it makes the rest of the game a little bit less difficult. And it'll open up more opportunities for you that you'll actually be able to do without getting your ass handed to you. So, definitely hit those missions up.
Someone has successfully struck at Zero. Since Zero's using a private network, we get information, but we have no way to trace his location. That means the details are still fuzzy at this point, but apparently some new bioweapon was used. As soon as he noticed the dip in his vital signs, he had his stomach pumped and even underwent blood dialysis. But he didn't fully recover. Ironically, if Zero kept more company, he'd have been safe. Since the incident, his speech and actions have been getting more unhinged by the day. He's probably been rushed to another safe house for intensive care. But the location is a complete mystery. That's the way he operates. He went to incredible lengths to make sure his great escape went unnoticed. So far, I know at least Langley and the Pentagon were involved.
That's my approach for sure. I don't like being underleveled. I like being ready for what's coming up.
The personnel involved were working off a
Well,
cover story.
that's a good approach for any game, but it's a very good approach for
the project is buried under a pile of dummy ops and backup plans stretching across multiple organizations.
Definitely
it's safe to
a
say
smart
not
way
one
to
of
go.
the people involved knew what they were moving
It definitely
forward
makes
to
it more
where.
enjoyable,
All
in my
top
opinion.
Secret, no trail, no leads. He's living up to his name as usual. Only this time, even I can't find him. Now, the only record of his location lies within the Cipher AI that was at the heart of the escape plan. And that's closed off, with its data sealed away in a secret location. Skullface was able to put together this assassination attempt. Even he can't possibly know where Zero is now. I'll keep searching, but when you're up against he who controls information, it's gonna be a long battle. Boss, it was Anderson after all. That's right, the man who went by SIGINT during Operation Snake Eater. Following Zero's disappearance, he's taken over command of Cipher. Well, to be precise, the AI he oversees has. The idea to have an AI act for Zero came about...
I've also read not doing side mission and rushing through the game is a very bad idea.
Clearly an AI couldn't be allowed to make its own decisions.
I would agree with that assessment.
For ending and story,
I would have to agree with that assessment. So, yes. Yes, it is.
So they would take away its ability to act, and instead, create a specialized system.
You need... It would be wise to get all the exposition and information that you can, and experience that you can, before you get that far.
In which the AI, bound by specific rules, filters the massive amounts of data it collects before passing it on to people, subtly guiding their decision-making. A system of the people, by the people, for the people. So they began researching how to do it. DARPA apparently brought Strangelove on board to head it up. She was forced out after a certain incident. The direction of the project and any trace of her existence was scrubbed after her departure. Before Zero lost consciousness as his condition worsened, he left instructions for Anderson. Through a cutout, of course. Zero went out of his way to hide your location in order to keep you safe. This meant sacrificing his own protection. It was the only way to ensure you could stand alone as your own man. And here I am. The only link between you and the world that's passing you by. I'm your last connection now. This was Zero's last request. His will. Once you're awake, we need to discuss the best way to ensure your safety. Oh, and they've got a name for Anderson's AI project. It's called the Patriots. It's all about ensuring that the concepts driving society appears the same in the mind of each person in that society. About maintaining the identity of the individual, and yet having that individual willingly make up part of the whole. I guess it's fitting to call that patriotism. Creating a united world.
Oh DARPA, they're a perfectly trustworthy organization. That Anderson?
Guidelines, rules, laws. When you You take a mentality and fix it in a solid shape. Put it out there in the hands of people. It can only begin to decay.
From a friendly radio contact to a guy who dies off screen on a torture table.
The will dies with it.
Huh?
Cipher's been in hiding ever since his grand experiment. No one's seen him in years.
All we hear are orders delivered by proxy. Except you. You met with him, face to face, in order to contact Big Boss. Tell me where he is. Where is Cipher? Where is Zero? I've never known.
You mean decoy octopus? Zany face.
The language I speak.
Yeah, well, Decoy died on screen, but he was posing as Anderson, as Sigint, when he died. The real Sigint, or Anderson, as he's called by the time this rolls around, and MGS1, actually died on the torture table at Ocelot's hands. He claimed it was an accident, but in reality, he killed him because he knew who he was. Because they both were involved with Operation Snake Eater. So they knew who each other were. So Anderson Sigint was the only one involved at Shadow Moses who would have known that Ocelot's true ambitions, or at least would have had some idea. Everyone else thought he was just working and loyal to Liquid. So that's why he killed him. He actually killed him on purpose, but he told Liquid it was an accident, that his heart gave out from the electricity.
I've never had the freedom to choose for myself. But you, right now, are free.
But yeah, the Anderson that snake meats, solid snake meats, was Decoy Octopus.
Big Boss.
It may.
Yeah. Ocelot is a very smart guy. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah, so
not for you.
He was pretty much forced to kill Sigint.
Alright. Zero is Hell's Kitchen, 10th Avenue. He is undergoing treatment there.
Not exactly Hyde Park.
His medical needs keep him from moving around. That is why he summoned me there. The other residents are of varying race and ages, but in reality, all 40 units are Cipher personnel. It took him 10 years to replace the original occupants. He's got places like this all over the world.
No better place to hide a needle than a stack of needles.
Zero is on the top floor. A room with no windows. Doors.
Headshot.
The elevator
Headshot.
does not reach it.
Couldn't even see that one guy.
The floor does not
That's even
exist.
overdoing.
The only access
Even outdid myself there.
by a secret staircase, one floor down. Room 702.
Shades of World War II.
Nobody realizes the entire building is a setup. People go in and out all day. But they're all Cipher. building blends right in with the rest of the city. They disseminate rumors that a gang operates out of the building that keeps most outsiders away. And most of them are there as security in case of an emergency. But even they don't know what they're really protecting.
Where are your friends?
Foot traffic, goods coming in and out, phone lines, water and sewage. It is all monitored remotely by satellite and cameras inside and out. Should he need it, there's a sealed-off water conduit that can be used to escape to the Hudson River, and from there to the sea. But from the outside, it is just another building. A perfect disguise.
So the Major believes zero suspicion equals total security. Very bold. It's just the kind of ruse I'd expect from him. So long as no one's suspicions are aroused, you could hide there forever. On the other hand, if someone figures it out, there are dozens of ways in. And he's so paranoid about information slipping out, no one involved has the full picture. That ignorance is a weakness, the downfall of a need-to-know system. The pitfalls are clear. Circumventing them will be simplicity itself.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
You hate him, don't you?
Hate? He never left me to die. I owe him my life. I'm
You gonna extract him?
Any way I can. But that's not what you really want to know. What you want to know is, do I hate Big Boss?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
I do deserve a little more of his gratitude. But he probably has no idea who I am. So you see, I have no reason to hate him at all. I mean to have my revenge against Zero. It's not petty hatred or resentment. Nothing so personal. Even the hottest lava eventually cools, becoming a mountain. And that mountain becomes the land. Scalding steam comes back down as rain, forming rivers, draining into the sea. It's then that nature's order sets in. Now I'm merely a part of that cycle. Just like Zero. And you.
You gotta love the vague nature of Japanese still storytelling.
Big Boss.
Don't do it!
That lava, that vengeance, is already set as stone. Too late to change things now.
Don't kill him!
The choice is not mine to make.
Please, let Big Boss live!
Proceed.
Please!
Give her the shot already! Hold her still!
It's me, Ocelot. It's been quite a while.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Took a lot longer for you to surface than I expected, Major. I wasn't planning on coming back at all.
I do love it though.
But I had no choice. Well, after the Caribbean,
My hunch was proven right.
Head over heels in love with it,
Believe who was
actually.
behind it.
Oh, I have an idea. How did you respond?
Immediate disinformation campaign. Most bought into the story, but not everyone. It was quite an incident, after all. I couldn't cover everything, but I did hide the fact that Snake survived. And that should buy us some time.
Where is he?
En route to an old foxhole of mine. A base in the British sovereign area of Cyprus.
The military hospital that did kill you?
Ava's leading the operation.
Ava? Following your orders?
Funny, isn't it? That we should all reunite like this.
This is an emergency. Otherwise, I sure as hell would...
Yes, I don't expect you to bury the hatchet between us. Something simply won't ever happen. Even I can appreciate that. You too can only bear to speak with me from time to time. That's fine. But I don't want Snake to die. Surely we can come together on that. There are so few men I can turn to. And you're number one, Ocelot. Keep him hidden. Keep him safe. But I'll stay where I am and leave the rest to you. That's how he'd want it too.
Isn't it better for you to be there to supervise?
Where I am, where he goes, it makes no difference. All that matters is getting him the very best treatment and security. The latter being where you come in. Will he wake up? And if so, when? I have absolutely no idea. But as long as his heart is beating, he will keep fighting. So please, watch over him.
This location, it's safe?
No one will find him. And if they try, I will deal with them. The information must be suppressed.
Which is what you do best. Guess you're still at the top of your game, huh?
Anything but. I'm sick, Ocelot. Donald's taken over a great deal. He'll be handling this situation from here on as well. Though I wish it weren't so. This will probably be the last time you and I speak. So, you won't say no, will you?
I have no choice.
Thank you.
Save your thanks.
One more thing. A proposition.
Yes.
I've prepared a ruse of sorts. One I imagine you'll quite like.
What is it?
You could say...
A Soviet relay base. Think there's something in there that could lead us to the honeybee?
I'm not talking about the children. A mental copy. His phantom, if you like.
I don't understand.
You will when you get to Cyprus. I've set the ball in motion, but the rest is in your hands. You're good at this kind of thing. The best. I need you on this.
If it's in his best interests.
I assure you, it is. Look after Snake. He's the toughest son of a bitch I've ever known. Yes, it's me. You weren't in hospital long. I had trouble finding you. Where is he? Safe. But in the same state as when you last saw him. We've had our misunderstandings, you and I. But as you've made clear, our relationship is strictly business. Therefore, I will limit this conversation to the business at hand. Please understand that I don't dislike you. Not inherently.
Where is Snake?
No. Settle down, or I'll have to hang up. And then you never hear from me again. Do you understand?
And Donald comes into play.
Yes. About your boss. I had him moved once he was stabilized. I'm sure
and
it came as
Anderson
quite a
again.
shock to you when
It
you
isn't
woke
many
up.
names.
You'll have to forgive me.
I told him to stop putting me under.
Surely you understand. Specialized medical treatment in places like that can be positively nightmarish. We couldn't have left him there forever. And to be honest, I wasn't entirely comfortable leaving matters in your hands. Don't take it the wrong way. Anyone looking for him would be looking for you. He needed to be as far from you as possible. In fact, I'm still not sharing his location, even now. Problems could arise. So, instead, I'm giving you a point of contact. An introduction to a network of messengers who will lead you to a man. A friend to your boss. I'm sure he's mentioned him before. He knows Snake's location. More than any man alive, I trust him with this sort of thing. Keeping secrets, or men in the dark. He's known Snake quite a while. 10 years longer than you.
Is that prisoner the Hamid survivor? If he is, he has to know something about the honeybee.
But I require your absolute trust in him on this. Snake will be brought back into this world, however long it takes. Understood? The only reason we're having this conversation is because you still have a role to play. Which brings me to the next issue. What happens after he regains consciousness? When Snake wakes up, and he will, he'll need your help again. So when he does, I promise you'll be the first to know. The code phrase will be, V has come to. I'll then mobilize all the necessary parties. Think of it as an overture to a prologue. Until then, do what you like. Just be ready when the time comes. But you don't need me to tell you that, do you? I know it's been hard on you too. But I can't imagine you're willing to just walk away.
What are you talking about? If what you're saying is true, then this is like wrapping a rope around your own neck and throwing it over a branch. What's your play in all this?
This?
I recognize Donald's his voice from anywhere.
After he wakes up. Nothing more. After that, I don't care what you do.
And tell me something.
Go on.
Some things are hard
I
not to
only joined
recognize.
you after I found out what you were after. To make the world one, you need Snake for that. And he's already done a hell of a lot for you.
He has.
So on some level at least, I think you're being straight with me. Then why'd you do that to him? I get what you were trying with Paz. You wanted to get Snake any way you could. But after that, what you did, how could you do that to him?
After that wasn't me. You may not believe this, but I never intended for any of this to happen. My organization has many arms. It's just going to take a little longer before we're all on the same page.
That's a younger Donald, of course.
I may have been lax in my supervision, but something like that will not happen again.
Whatever. One day, I'll know the truth. Just as soon as the boss wakes up. And then we're coming after you. This ends with you begging us to put you out of your misery.
No, I think this is Zero and Miller
ally. But remember
as
this
Master
reality,
Miller.
Kazuhira Miller. Big Boss will wake up.
McDonald Miller.
And when he does,
So
be
many
there
Donalds.
for him.
I guess there's two Donalds.
Major, I wondered whether you'd really call.
Exer, I presume this was your doing?
Do you like my gift?
I've been searching a long time for this.
It is what you were looking for, yes.
He's coming too. Roger that.
The winged dagger of a comrade lost to the sands of Egypt.
Donald Miller, yeah, a new MGS character.
I delivered this pin to her
You
after
gonna extract him?
we were both so
That was
very young.
Before they decided
From
to
that
name it
moment on, she
Kazuhira.
never let it leave her side.
She was still
We never
carrying
knew
it
his
in
name was
Salino
Kaz
Yacht.
back in MGS1.
How about the back?
It was just McDonald Miller. That's all we had to go on. That
Something
master.
wrong, Major?
Nothing, just pricked my finger.
The back.
The scar is there, just as I remember it. And this white stitching on the back. From the white berets the SAS wore in the early days. Ah.
Major?
30th of December, 1941. It's the inscription I made the day he died.
Of course.
His body was never recovered. This pin badge is the closest thing he has to a gravestone. When I gave it to her, she just kept on running her finger over the inscription. "Never again," she uttered, as if reprimanding
Master
herself.
Miller, the one who Liquid killed?
She pressed hard.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Embedding the inscription itself into her finger. You see, it's why this spot on the back looks shinier than the rest. He was our brother in arms.
Yeah. That's who Kaz is. The Miller from this one is the very same Master Miller that Ocelot, well, Liquid had Ocelot killed, but Ocelot, I'm pretty sure Ocelot was going to kill him anyway. It just happened to coincide with Liquid's order and idea.
So...
Yes, it's
real.
real.
Once again, Miller would have been the only one. Sort of the same situation as Anderson. Miller knew Ocelot from... he knew that he was really loyal to Big Boss and Big Boss only. And that he wouldn't have really been working for Liquid. So he had to go.
Thank you. There's no doubt about it.
Good. Now I have no regrets.
Before he
What
could
do I owe you?
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Very well, then.
It's about our man, Major. He's been making some moves.
Miller? Yes, I know. Rhodesia, is it?
Yes, and up to his old tricks again.
No matter. He'll stumble soon enough.
Although he is under my jurisdiction now.
And that's what you want to talk about.
Oh, damn it.
Not exactly. You see, my being here has made me realize I can still be of use to you.
How so?
This country is rich with biological resources. Bacteria, nematodes, viruses. I'm sure we can find something here to bring that plan back into action.
Forget it. The Cleanser Project was just another one of my predecessor's daydreams.
And the vocal cord parasites?
Were an excellent test case for reverse evolution. Nothing more. What matters now is the genetics technology behind that work. With genetics, the clumsiness in targeting an entire race isn't an issue. We can target specific individuals. No need to breed multiple generations of parasite just to get results. Don't be quaint, Exo. Once the Cold War is over, our enemies won't be so clearly defined. Using humans alone won't be enough. An electronic network will span the globe, and our enemies will blend right into it.
You may be right. But will people really settle for an enemy they can't see? Men want to feel righteous, need to see the evil in the enemy they fear. Without it, they'll turn their aggressions inward, find an enemy inside. You know this is true.
I see what you're saying. Just as those robbed of their parasites develop allergies and autoimmune diseases, a man robbed of his enemy develops self-destructive tendencies. And I know all the symptoms.
He's coming too.
Conflict,
Roger that.
religious strife, terrorism. And with asymmetrical conflict, deterrence is a joke. That's why we must depend on information control. People need an appropriate context for their lives. A context that's stimulating without being destructive. That balance is the basis of equilibrium.
You mean to say people will blindly accept your context without developing any allergies?
If we're to unite the world, literacy must be suppressed. To suppress the information immune system, to borrow your metaphor.
Immunity to information. But to ensure there's no allergic reaction, while the immune system fights off parasites and pathogens.
It's done, Exo. This world will become one. I have found the way. The world that the boss envisioned will finally become a reality. Race, tribal affiliations, national borders, even our faces will be irrelevant. The nature of communication itself will change, and it will make mankind whole again.
Some things can't be undone. My face was taken from me. There's no taking that back.
A face means nothing when one's soul is able to communicate directly with another.
I have no intention of hiding behind your technological veil, Major. I wear my broken visage, this skull, in the open, so that I may never forget what I've lost.
You. What are you?
The chain of retaliation is what will truly bind this world together as one. Major.
You son. The pin. You...
Yes, the pin. It's too late. They can't extract it. You see, Major, some things can't be undone.
How did you find me? The girl. You made her talk.
I'm sorry I couldn't visit or thank you in person, but it has been lovely chatting. And now that I know you're no longer interested in...
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
To step aside.
Good news, boss. Looks like that prisoner you extracted was the Hamid survivor. The guy's a mute, but he pointed out the whereabouts of the honeybee on a map. It's on your iDroid. Head on over there and retrieve it.
You planned this all along. Had your own agenda.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Now you see, the world can never truly become one.
But the boss...
You've been wrong.
I assume this genetics research is what leads to the two snakes.
You gonna extract him?
Oh no, Skullface's genetic research was actually the vocal cord parasite that he planned on destroying. That he planned on using to destroy the English language and anyone who spoke it, and sort of to reset the world and the balance of power in the world. At some point, Zero's genetic research probably did have something to do with the Les Enfants Terribles project that birthed the clones of Big Boss, but he eventually started studying a bunch of weird off-kilter shit too, like vocal cord parasites and all kinds of strange shit. But at first, yeah, his gene research was just about figuring out and isolating the soldier genes that made Big Boss who he was, and then eventually cloning them. God damn it. Why won't these guys?
You're no different. Just like him. None of you understand the world she saw.
I would say the same to you, Major.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Where is the prisoner? Dog must have already got him. Shit.
The boss said the same thing. Only I understood what she meant. Major, I'll handle the rest. Oh, and one more thing. That pin badge, it was a fake. I held on to the real one. I'll take good care of it. And continue the boss's work.
You gonna extract him?
Jack.
Now, Zero is visiting Big Boss in the hospital during his coma. And the body double's there, too.
Go.
The previous videotape was the recording of Skullface's attack on Zero,
almost thought you wouldn't
where he
come.
poisoned him.
Well, you're supposed to visit hospital before you die.
But how did you get here?
My friends at the SAS know how to keep a secret. The trip to the airport was a little dramatic, but the rest was easy. Still, I've had smoother rides. Oh, look. Escorted myself with my tea. I won't be staying long.
I understand.
Which one is he?
On the right.
And the left?
We did just as you instructed.
Has either of them woken?
Neither of them. No.
Not once?
Not in 2 years. Their weekly EEG shows stable activity levels. There's been practically no change.
Jack? Jack? It's me. You look fit to run a country mile.
Every 4 hours, we move all of their muscles.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
They're stable, but eventually...
Yes, of course.
We've done everything we can to ensure they're ready to move, should they wake up. Still, it's been a pretty long time. How long will they be here?
Indefinitely. It's too dangerous to move them. And so far, no one knows they're here.
I see.
I am most grateful to you. And I need you to keep it up.
We'll do everything we can.
Can you give us a moment?
Of course.
Jack, can you hear me? Nice place, isn't it? I went to a lot of trouble bringing you here. Here, where no one will find you. Still, the Ocelot's on guard duty, just in case. Maybe knowing that will help you sleep better. I had no intention of coming, but this could be my last chance. If you'd just come to see me first. Do you remember the last time I visited you in hospital? Our first mission together. After the boss threw you in that river. Broke your arm. Ah, the good old days. I never told you this, but I had another team at my disposal back then, with a very special man leading it. Maybe he didn't like the arrangement. In any case, this man, he seems to have done something to me. Which is why I'm quite sick myself. Up here. There's nothing they can do. I always was the forgetful type, as you know. I'm all right for now, but they say it's a one-way street. If you don't wake up soon, I won't remember you when you do. I don't mind about myself, but what he did to you, I can never forgive. I've sent him to Africa, and I doubt he's coming back. Jack, once your little holiday here is over. Well, who knows when that will be. But anyway, I probably won't be around. I'll be somewhere even you can't find me. A tombstone chiseled into the code of a machine. That is all I leave to mark my existence.
Doubt he's coming back, rolling on the floor laughing.
Wake up soon, old friend. Time is running short.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I got way too into listening to the tape. Oh, I hate to do it, but I might have to kill all these guys. Or most. Oh yeah, I should have killed them.
Turns Jack didn't know jack about himself.
Well, the real Jack did, but we're just a mother-based soldier from Peace Walker who happened to be a doctor and a fairly decent soldier himself. Oh, well, one of them survived.
Analysis complete.
Hands up. Talk. Where are the others?
What is it with the Jacks right now? Jack shit. God damn.
Right time, right place.
Hold on.
I just wonder which soldier.
Wrong time, wrong place.
I just wonder which soldier he is in Peace Walker, because I played the shit out of Peace Walker. He's got to be in the medical unit, because he was a doctor, so that'd be something to find out. Venom Snake's actual identity, or his code name at least, because his actual identity is supposed to be you, but he would have had a code name in Peace Walker, at the very least.
Code Talker. Haven't seen you eat a single thing since you got here. Let me guess. Photosynthesis? Oh? What makes you say that? Well, a long time ago, I knew someone with a similar ability.
Well, you are correct. Most of my body is covered with parasites. I supply them with water, and in return, I receive sugars they produce when exposed to light.
Uh-huh.
it isn't just my skin either. The parasites also act as my eyes. They have replaced many of my internal organs as well. It is thanks to them that I live on after over a century.
How did you obtain them anyway? Through your research?
I would like to say as much, but there is more to it than that. Let me take you back 20 years. I had hit a dead end with my parasite research. Then I was approached by a foundation. They said they had a sample of an unusual strain of parasite.
Which foundation?
Apparently, they had links to ARPA. But that is all I learned. I was somewhat ignorant of the ways of the world. Just being able to study it was enough for me.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Go on.
Half in doubt, I visited them to discover the body of an old man. Well, to be precise, his partial remains.
Code talker scenes, interesting.
Oh, absolutely. He is pretty interesting.
An old man, you say?
His flesh had not decomposed. In fact, the tissues...
They're actually... The old man he's talking about, the remains, is the end. The sniper from MGS 3. So that's a little bit of exposition here. But you probably... I don't think they mentioned by name.
Cells were still metabolizing. The parasite had infected, or should I say assimilated with, the tissues, and was keeping them alive. I became obsessed with studying foregoing food and even sleep. Every day was filled with new discoveries. The parasite's biology, internal anatomy, life cycle. But there was only so much I could learn through observation. And so I made a decision. To truly know the parasites, I had to live with them.
So, you implanted them inside you from the dead man's flesh?
Correct. It was quite a gamble, whether or not they would adapt to me. But fortunately, it appears I was compatible with them. Or perhaps, through my many years of research, my immune system learned to tolerate them.
Were they that body's only parasite?
Yes. However, there was a separate specimen that supplied its host with adrenaline in response to pain. And yet another that could control insects at will through secreting heterogeneous pheromones. I wanted exposure to them, to take them into me. But my wishes were denied. Their records, though, provided clues that helped advance my research. Would you care to join me? A life spent never worrying about food is a most wonderful one.
I think I'll pass. But thanks. This has been helpful.
The one that covers the parasite that lives on the surface of the skull's bodies is what gives them their power. Similar to my children, who live in my skin. I modified the parasite.
That's an enemy gunship. A single burst from its machine gun.
That means no need to spend tons of money at the grocery store.
Absolutely.
The one that covers the parasite that lives on the surface of the skull's
his grocery
bodies
bills have to be pretty
is
nil.
what gives them their power. Similar to my children, who live in my skin. I modified the parasites I isolated from the body of that old man, differentiating them with various abilities. One that can blend perfectly into its surroundings by exposing the pigments in its cells at will. Another that by harboring multiple species of metallic archaea can oxidize and reduce metal. Isolating the one that covers and transplanting it into an artificial medium should provide the same abilities as the skulls, but they can only subsist within a human body. Once transplanted into the medium, they will eventually die. Another thing, the weakness of the one that covers is desiccation. Their surface moisture loss is greater than ours. The reason they give off mist is to alleviate this by releasing the salts inside them as microparticles. Water vapor condenses around them, appearing as mist. But this dries out the atmosphere until they cannot even produce mist. And once their supply of water from the host runs out, the parasites are in danger. They, along with their host, enter a form of suspended animation. However, a similar effect occurs if they come into contact with a large amount of water. Rain, for instance. The one that covers will temporarily abandon other processes in his eagerness to absorb the water. Pitijolone. Make the weather your ally.
Where are the others?
The map has been updated. Analysis complete.
Extract!
So no showering.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
I don't know about them. I know Quiet actually has to shower. How she actually eats. Or something. She takes in the water through her skin. Or no, it's how she drinks. She takes it in through her skin. But to answer that though, I don't think that the case and file, the rank and file skulls are too worried about showering. They just don't seem like the kind of guys and gals that really worry about taking a shower.
There's something I've been wondering. Why are you called Code Talker? During World War II, the U.S. military used the languages of different tribes, including the Navajo, as codes, right? I know the term Code Talker was used to mean people sent to the battlefield to speak in those codes. Were you one of them?
Our mother tongue was indeed used for war. But I did not go. I was already over the conscription age. However, I was made...
He's coming too. Roger that.
So in a wider sense, you could call me a code talker for that. Navajo is a complex language, and virtually no one outside the U.S. speaks it. They must have thought it was the perfect language to use as a code.
Yeah, in the end, the Japanese never cracked it. The Cipher is king in information warfare.
Of course, they didn't simply speak in Navajo. They created substitutions for words according to a code book, and then translated those into our language.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
To the front lines of the Pacific Theater as code talkers. To fight is an honor for the Dene. They were the pride of our people. But I cannot say this history brings me joy. Words are alive. When they are spoken, life is breathed into them. They become a part of the listener. Our words were transformed into lifeless ciphers and used for war. This, after the Black Ana spent generations suppressing the language.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So I guess we shouldn't be calling you Code Talker, huh?
No, I do not mind. The reason Skullface called me Code Talker was because I also am responsible for coding language into the vocal cord parasites. I am the same as those young warriors, used for a Cipher's sake. I must never forget that. The name, Code Talker, is a lesson carved into my being.
You said Skullface ordered you to weaponize the vocal cord parasites. But you also said he wasn't the reason.
And he wasn't. I was seduced by the parasites. That is a fact.
How? You mean from your curiosity as a scientist?
That I cannot deny. But there is more to it. The story goes back to the 19th century, to my earliest memory. One day, a man from the government visited our Hogan, our home. I cried as he yanked me from my mother's arms and took me away to an Indian boarding school. From that day forward,
So Code Talker is an accidental bad guy?
my teacher gave me.
He's more like Otacon, a scientist used
from speaking anything but English
to create weapons.
If we dared utter a word of filthy Navajo, the teacher made us eat a bar of soap.
Yeah, that was the U.S. government's education policy for Native Americans.
To erase our words was like erasing our people.
In the end, he knew what he was doing, so I mean, he's to blame for some things. He's not blameless, that's for sure.
Persecution of our language
That's probably why they keep him on Mother
but to
Base.
this day, it continues to be eaten away by the lingua franca, that is English. Many of the Diné outside the reservations can speak nothing else. And it isn't just our language. Across the world, minority languages are being destroyed by dominant languages. Many are on the verge of extinction.
Enter the vocal cord parasites.
Yes, I began thinking that minority languages needed some sort of deterrent against dominant languages.
How close am I?
In order that they,
Close enough to
their
walk.
peoples and cultures would survive. It was then that I came across literature at the Foundation claiming that man acquired language thanks to a type of parasite, one that distinguishes between languages as a precursor to reproduction. If I
He's coming too. Roger that.
Pathogenic, I would have my deterrent against English, but I failed to hide that aim from Skullface. He noticed. Yes, I wanted to retaliate against the English language, though never did I intend to actually use it as he planned. You know how the story ends.
That should enable you to...
That's true. Minority languages are being decimated across the world.
However, he
Yeah.
in fact secretly isolated
Yeah, that
an
is
English
true.
strain.
I will not be held prisoner by the man's phantom.
Like, I don't even speak my ancestral language,
Be allowed to exist either.
so there is truth to this. Can't really argue that. Sad, really.
I have no doubt Skullface's plan is almost complete.
Oh, I'm gonna go get something to eat. Whoa,
I will no
I
longer
stepped
be
on my
of use
damn
to him. I must
can of
leave
soda.
behind this record.
I just recently bought a new studio loft, so I'm living in my own place now.
These abominable
Pretty
ethnic
awesome.
cleansing parasites. I believe he has two purposes for the ethnic cleansing parasites.
I grab a candy
The
bar.
first, as their name suggests, is ethnic cleansing. This conflict between East and West that envelops the
There
world
we
will
go.
not last much longer. Once the Cold War ends, and the weight of America and the Soviet Union is lifted away, the ethnic conflicts they kept suppressed will all rise to the surface. It is not difficult to imagine that the radical sides will begin cleansing their adversaries. But what if an ethnic cleansing parasite matching the language of the aggressors were to be
Canada does it. The US does it. Australia does it. India does it. China is quickly erasing the Tibetan language.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The second purpose
Sometimes it's not even purposeful.
of the world.
Sometimes
To Cipher
languages are erased wholly on incident. But there is also instances of languages being purposefully eradicated.
A man's very means
So,
of thinking. If you
either way,
erase the word
it's
representing
happening.
some concept, the concept itself disappears from the world. Nishone means beautiful in Navajo, but the image that comes to mind when we say Nishone differs from the Black Ana's beautiful. An azure sky, a rolling landscape, lush greenery, a meaning we place in Nishone has its roots in Dene culture. If we lose the word Nishone, the images of our beautiful homeland would be washed away into oblivion along with it.
Russia is destroying the their Inuitish language in Siberia.
Cipher, being based in America, is pushing Englishization for this very reason. Suppose all 5 billion people on this planet come to read, speak, and think in English. Their wills could also be streamlined under English. Cipher's control would be all the easier. Economic governance would progress in leaps and bounds. The ethnic cleansing parasites would be a great aid in accomplishing this goal. There is no need to destroy every language besides English. All they need to do is weaken
Definitely
other
sounds like a
dominant
possibility.
languages competing with it. Russian, Chinese,
I'm gonna look into that.
Arabic. If people know they
Makes
risk
sense
their
there
lives
would be a native
speaking
Inuit
such languages,
population and
they will
language.
flock to the lingua franca, that is English. Cipher need not
Because of the
even
land
focus
bridge
attention
that
on smaller languages.
existed.
After all, they are already being eaten away by English. Business, education, film, commodities. English has permeated every area of global society. I can see this when I look at young Dene. Some of them have already lost their grasp of the Navajo language.
You gonna extract him?
Said that over 2,000 languages of the world are facing extinction. This very moment, cultural concepts and forms of expression are disappearing forever. The spread of electronic networks gives greater meaning to Englishization. Networks have no national borders. By basing them on a single language, they can penetrate deeper into and between people. That basic point of unity provides the ideal environment for someone who aims to control people's wills. But how does this differ from building the Tower of Babel? The ethnic cleansing parasites attempt to rob man of his words.
He's coming too. Roger that.
It was the vocal cord parasites that gave words to him in the first place. Ancient man had no language. Unable to produce complex sounds due to the structure of the throat, he could communicate only through simple vocalizations and gestures. Then the vocal cord parasites infected his larynx. Man's transition to walking upright did not gift him solely with intelligence, but also with his voice. At the time, the vocal cord parasites never harmed man. They merely took a small measure of nourishment. In fact, you could call it a symbiotic relationship. Some animal species use particular vocal vocalization patterns to attract a female and reproduce. Songbirds, certain insects, and also the vocal cord parasites. The difference is that the parasites themselves did not produce sounds. Rather, they had their hosts, man, do it for them. Once secure on the human host vocal cords, a male vocal cord parasite caused the host to produce a certain sound pattern, something like a warble of a bird. Meanwhile, females parasitizing other host pharynxes need only wait. Upon hearing the sound pattern of an attractive mate, they would manipulate their hosts into making contact with the person it came from. The female traveled through his host's saliva to the other host's vocal cords, where the male was waiting and the pair copulated. We can only imagine how the female manipulated his host, but it was probably through smell. Smells traveled directly to the limbic system via the olfactory cilia in the nasal cavity. Volatile compounds released by the female would stimulate the limbic system, which controls instincts, making the host feel amorous.
Interesting mix of real science and science fiction here.
To competition between the male parasites.
Yes, absolutely.
Males that had their hosts produce sounds perceived by females.
I had to look into it at first when it first came out.
To find the honeybee. Producing offspring. Evolutionary traits caused by
because I wasn't sure if it was completely fictitious or completely real. Turns out it was a combination of both.
The firefly's luminescence pattern. Even with courtship behaviors that are not advantageous to survival, those individuals that excel in them produce offspring, and it escalates with each generation. The same was true of the vocal cord parasites. Courtship vocalization rhythms and intonations became more sophisticated, and in order for man to produce such sounds, they had to alter his vocal organs by lowering the position of the larynx and developing resonating chambers. They enabled more complex pronunciations. But that was not all. The vocal cord parasites activated a transcription factor that would later control man's language ability. A protein that, due to its appearance, is called forkhead box protein P2, or FOXP2. Activating this transcription factor led to the development of brain function capable of creating sophisticated frequency changes. This was the pinnacle of the vocal cord parasite's prosperity. However, this sophisticated pronunciation control was too useful for man to ignore. Once human sexual activity...
Like the evolutionary parts are very true, but the vocal parasite part is 90% fictional.
Distinctive vocalizations became the most effective means for humans to attract mates as well. Combined with logic pathways hardwired into the brain, or universal grammar, it was not long before advanced communication was possible. This was the birth of language. Luckily for man, it was around this time that a particular
fairly genius how he was able to weave that into his narrative.
While not lethal, it infected not only man, but the vocal cord parasites as well. It is presumed that this virus removed part of the parasite's DNA and reverse transcribed it into man's reproductive cells. It was a vector. Among the genes it transcribed were the ones responsible for the production of language. The vocal cord parasite's vocalization genes were written into the human genome. The parasites were no longer of any use to man now. Man could use his voice as he pleased, when he pleased, hindering the parasite's courtship vocalizations. Having lost their opportunity to reproduce, the parasites died out, leaving behind only the transcribed genes. The vocal cord parasites were once in symbiosis with man. Its genes even became a part of his. Humans and parasites are extremely close. As such, it will be extremely difficult for man's immune system to eliminate the vocal cord parasites. Even cutting them out will be no simple matter, which is exactly why these ethnic cleansing parasites are such a formidable weapon. The rise of the vocal cord parasites goes back approximately 300 million years to the Permian period. At that time, they were not even parasites, but predatory autotrophs. They are believed to have been the common ancestor to the Pentastomida and the Cyclops genus of copepods. However, Earth's environment underwent a violent change at the end of the Permian period. The cause is unclear, but evidence suggests that over 90% of the Earth's organisms at that time died out. The most pronounced threat to the proto-parasites was the severe reduction in oxygen concentration. The result was cladogenesis, a splitting that gave birth to a new strain that could parasitize other organisms' respiratory apparatus. This survival tactic helped lower their oxygen consumption, and inhabiting the throat kept them securely in contact with inhaled air. The best survivors were those that parasitized the reptiles that flourished at the time. Entering the Triassic period, the reptiles evolved into dinosaurs, and the proto-parasites shared in their success.
Code Talker also brings about an interesting idea. How far would you go to archive a noble goal until the results do far more harm?
Thrive. But another trial awaited them. The end of the Triassic period saw another drastic change in the Earth's environment.
The whole "do the ends justify the means" conundrum.
Male and female take the same host. Many are
harm then good.
Originally, the vocal cord parasites
been
were as well.
Been a very relevant
strain to ride out a severe
question to the whole of Metal Gear and many characters in Metal Gear.
Genetic diversity.
Do the ends justify the means?
Now the newest strain procreated with mates,
especially with Big Boss.
And in order to increase its encounters with those mates, the new strain utilized the voice of its host. They came to inhabit the host's vocal cords. This truly was the birth of the vocal cord parasite. The parasites developed the host's pharynx to form resonating chambers and used them to produce sophisticated mating calls. The relatively upright posture of the dinosaurs was important in this, because the crooked L-shaped pharynx was more suited to the development of resonating chambers. These developments ushered in a time of great prosperity for the parasites. But for the third time, the parasites had a major hurdle to overcome. The meteorite impact at the end of the Cretaceous period, which spelled the end of the dinosaurs. With their hosts extinct, the vocal cord parasites had no option but to find a new habitat. Birds. As genetic successors to the dinosaurs, with functioning air sac apparatus already in place, birds were the perfect choice. But the parasites could not survive in birds that flew at high altitudes with thinner air. So they parasitized ground-dwelling birds and altered their respiratory system for the sake of reproduction. They gave the birds the means to produce sophisticated sounds. The syrinx responsible for
subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Points to activation of Fox P2 in songbirds as well as humans. The Cenozoic.
Pretty much every MG character has a noble cause of some sort, and many are willing to do some extreme things to get there.
The parasites then shifted to humans as a more effective host.
Very true.
Humans' bipedal upright walking meant that our throats could support larger resonating chambers. At first, vocal cord parasites entered humans using birds as their intermediate host. But eventually they changed to conducting their entire life cycle within human hosts. What happened next is as I have already described. People took the vocalizing prowess given them.
You gotta extract him.
And made it language. And once the parasites could no longer use it as their mating call, they died out. Or in other words, the parasites overcame all evolutionary hurdles except humanity. Skullface shared his opinion on this matter. He said the Ethnic Cleansers Project was sure to succeed. After all, the parasites had a grudge against us humans. To think we awoke them after such a long slumber, just so they could sate their thirst for vengeance. It is terrible, unforgivable, and yet...
These various noble causes also collide with other characters' noble causes, thus complicated plots MG games are known for.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
It was little more than a theory. The question was, why does only Homo sapiens among all primates have highly developed language? Human versus everything else. The missing link between these was the mystery that gave rise to this theory. I was fascinated by the idea
they can collide at some point.
The creation myth. The Neyo Dene, who first inhabited the world, were insect-like creatures. I came to imagine that those
the cycle of conflict, really.
Might be humans living in symbiosis
never ending
with the vocal cord parasites. But I had not the faintest idea of how I could resurrect them. That is when Skullface came to me. What he offered me was not just assistance with my metallic archaea research. He told me the vocal cord parasites really existed. And not only did they exist, they had already been brought back to life in the modern age. An ancient human cadaver, host to the parasites of the time. Cipher excavated such a cadaver from a permafrost region and isolated the DNA coding of the vocal cord parasites. Naturally, they were long dead and could not be brought back, but there was an alternate vessel they could use. A relative species of the Pentastomida discovered in China. It had adapted to live in the nasal cavity of animal hosts. But its genetic sequence showed signs of common ancestry with the vocal cord parasites.
You gotta extract him.
The path of an organism to maturity is like a roadmap of the phylogenetic evolution of the entire strain. Cipher used this to effect a reverse evolution of the modern parasite and resurrect the vocal cord parasites. They interposed a developmental mechanism to the ontogenetic stage analogous to when the relative species...
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Causes perfectly align until they don't. Causes that used to be on opposite sides can align. That's part of what makes MG games so fascinating.
The larvae this produced by the vocal
the
cord
greatest enemy.
parasites
The times.
reborn. I do not know in
The
detail
times
how
change
Cipher
everyone and
accomplished
everything.
this, but clearly they have access to a higher level genetic technology. Skullface said it was the work of a genius woman scientist, and that the relative species in question was first discovered by a group once called the Philosophers. I was tasked with modifying the resurrected parasites. He charged me with two demands. First, to add lethality to these organisms that had once lived in peace.
He's coming too. Roger that.
Unleashing the larvae's latent desire to consume nutrients from the host's lung tissue making them eat and eat until the lungs were destroyed. Second, to have both male and female inhabit the same host and copulate then and there, only when exposed to specific pronunciations continuously over an extended time.
As proof of that, Ocelot has been on so many sites that you can't truly call him a villain.
Yes. It was all, well, after MGS 3, the only side he was truly on was that of Big Boss. Well, the real Big Boss, which put him on the side of the fake Big Boss by proxy, because the real Big Boss's goals and whatnot lined up with the fake ones, you know, because he was there just to protect the real one and keep the spotlight off of him. So, yeah, after MGS3, he always played sides, but he was only ultimately on Big Boss's side. Which in the end, he was not a villain, because he helped destroy his only goal was to destroy the system that enslaved humanity. The Patriot AI. So yeah, not a villain in my book. Maybe an anti-hero who had done questionable and sometimes immoral things for a greater good, but not an outright villain.
The ultimate objective of the ethnic cleansing parasite project was the identification of not only languages, but of actual cultures. Language is deeply connected to ethnicity, but many languages are employed by multiple ethnic groups, and confrontation between those ethnic groups is by no means rare. If the cleanser parasites were to be a deterrent against ethnic conflict, they had to distinguish between groups using
Anti-hero describes him very well.
The original plan called for this to be achieved by differences in the transmission vector. Each ethnic group has different lifestyle customs and eating habits. For instance, parasites living in shallow water and taken in through the skin could be used to target rice farming groups. Or parasites using cows as their intermediate host would be ineffective against cultures that abstain from eating beef. But that is a lofty goal indeed. The current parasites mainly rely on droplet transmission. It would take extensive time to alter the transmission route. I eventually learned that the ethnic
Imagine how long it took to write the background lore in this game.
Who put it back into operation.
You gotta extract him.
But despite that, he told me to forget about the transmission
For all
route
the games, it's taken a
and just
lifetime.
focus on language identification.
Just one alone would probably be years.
I understand that the Chinese philosophers who discovered the relative species of parasite
And if you count the work that went into previous games that helped write this and influence it, then yeah, it's far longer.
temporal parietal region is home to the part of the brain that identifies the phonetic symbols of the English
Get them
language.
weapons.
They wished to create a strain
Here's a
that would
good one.
parasitize that region and suppress
This
its
will
literacy
raise my PF
functions.
ranking.
The brain area responsible for identifying the logographs of Chinese, meanwhile, is in the left middle frontal gyrus, meaning that even if native speakers of Chinese were infected with the parasite, the literacy would be unaffected. Old and new, east and west, there is no limit to the delusions of those in power.
He was going for that mortar.
But this delusion
He was about to
threatens
blow
become
her
a
ass up.
reality. I have to do something to stop this. There must be something I can do.
2. Roger that.
I'd say it's no different than the writing of the lore of Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. It's an entirely unique world.
Yes, very much so. Star Wars, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Metal Gear. Very similar in those aspects.
All of you. Until now, I had thought of your organization, Diamond Dogs, as a superorganism.
You'll have to explain that one.
The term refers to a unit of eusocial insects like ants or bees. While made up of many individuals, they behave as though they are one organism, with the queen as their nerve center. The close ties you share here reminded me of that.
Well, the boss's efforts do pull us all together.
I was not finished. I'm speaking in terms of homogeneity. You come from all walks of life, do you not? Many races and tongues, talents and pasts, complementing each other, influencing each other, making Diamond Dogs the unique group that it is.
Of course. We have no use for mindless drones around here.
Is that so? Then perhaps an organization like yours is a truer superorganism than the ants and bees.
Meaning?
Most organisms adapt to their environment by coexisting with other species. Take the cow, for instance. Its rumen, the first stomach, contains an incredible number of bacteria, which digest the food it has consumed. Without their help, the cow could not break down the fiber in grasses. The cow has to outsource its means of survival to them.
You don't say.
Man is the same. Some 100 trillion bacteria live inside the human intestines. Without the bacteria, they could not function properly. And it does not stop there. The stomach, the mouth, the skin, even the placenta contains bacteria that coexist with us. The same is true of parasites. In fact, the human immune system has evolved based on parasites being a part of it. Without them, the immune system can run amok and even damage other parts of the body.
This is all very interesting, but what does it have to do with Diamond Dogs?
A harmonious superorganism is made up not of a group of homogeneous individuals, but of diverse individuals that complement each other. That is what I saw in your group here. Then it occurred to me that man is a superorganism. Man's phenotype is not determined solely by his genetics. Some say if you mapped the genomes of all bacteria in the human body, the result would be over 100 times bigger than the human genome. The sum of man's genome and those of the organisms he coexists with, call it a metagenome, creates the superorganism we know as a human being.
Well, now that's quite a leap.
You think so? Then try a broader perspective. If our world were a human body, you would be parasites. You make a living by doing the dirty work that the world powers cannot handle themselves. From their perspective, you are likely a nuisance. But without you, pus would build up around the world, and autotoxemia, self-poisoning, would follow. The world needs your kind.
Thank goodness for that.
Skullface forced me to turn parasites into weapons. Creatures with which we are supposed to coexist. Meanwhile, that foundation I worked with focused solely on the human genome, apparently thinking that manipulating it would get them whatever new form they want. Both ways are mistakes. Neither is the true superorganism. I am Dine. By speaking with those living inside me, we name another and enjoy harmonious growth. Such was the original purpose of my research. You have made me remember this.
Well, it's an honor. You can travel the world, but you won't find another place like this. If the whole world was like this base, I think the peoples of the world would bid farewell to fighting for good. Maybe that's what the boss wanted in the end.
You gotta extract him.
Yep, that's what Big Boss wanted.
Definitely what the boss wanted. Debatable about Big Boss. Some people say and think that's what he wanted. Some people think and say that he wanted a world with endless fighting, so that soldiers would always have a place. It's hard to tell with all the counterintelligence and propaganda spread by the Patriot AI. It's hard to tell what the actual man himself wanted. All we can really go off of is what he says at the end of MGS V.
Analysis complete.
That's out of the words of his mouth.
Я не хочу умирать!
So, I think he made mistakes along the way, but I think he meant well. Whatever his goals were. Where are those diamonds? Already taken them out of here recently. I know that there's some right. Yeah, I've already got them all in another playthrough. Down here yet.
Guard post captured. Some will select shortly.
Sol Hamid survivor couldn't speak. Coincidence? Retrieve the honeybee. Its location is on your iDroid. You need to retrieve the new U.S. military weapon known as the honeybee.
Who would have thought they'd hide it there?
You secured the target. Now you just need to bring it back. Call the chopper from your iDroid. You are not to use the honeybee. The order was to recover it with its ammunition.
Please select a drop point. Supplies requested. Supply drop complete.
Keep in mind that time doesn't stop while you use the iDroid. You can even move around while using it, but pay attention to your surroundings.
Here we go.
You look well rested, big boss. My, how you've changed. You became a demon for such little weapons as that? Well, I'm sure you'll see the bigger picture eventually. If you get out of here alive. Rest in peace this time. I'll see you in hell, boss.
happening to that soldier? Damn it, they're everywhere.
Those skulls are too fast. If you had a homing weapon. Boss, maybe it's time to see what the honeybee can do.
Damn it. Shit. Oh, shit. Yeah, I was a bit rusty for that one.
Hey, quit kidding around. Snake?
Bit rusty for that one.
Damn it, they're everywhere.
Those skulls are too fast. If you had a homing weapon. Boss, maybe it's time to see what the honeybee can do.
Supplies requested. Supply drop complete.
God damn it.
Bring the honeybee back to base.
Support helicopter.
He's coming too. Roger that.
This is Speedquad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is Speedquad. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Support helicopter has arrived. Extraction required to the base.
Yes, mission complete. Boss, that was exceptional.
There we have it. I should raise the PF ranking some. Need to find some tanks though, and walker gears.
So this unit in the mist, their speed, the way they jump, it's not human. And those deformities.
They attacked the Soviets too.
And that Grim Reaper look-alike in charge of them. That giant thing that carried him off. What the hell are they?
Cipher.
What do they want? What's their objective? Why Afghanistan? There's one more thing troubling me.
What happened to the Hamid?
Exactly. Whole squads of hardened Mujahideen killed without a fight, and no trace of BC weaponry. What does it all mean?
That's what we're here to find out.
Yeah, right. If we really need to know, the truth will reveal itself. Even if it's ugly.
Good. You captured it alive.
Remember the guys you brought back from the base in Cuba 9 years ago? Believe it or not, some of them survived that hell we went through. Word reached them that Big Boss is back and they wanted in. They're good men. Our brothers in fate. They'll be glad to know you've seen them here.
Alright, and I think that does it for tonight. I've got to get a shower and get to bed to be up in the morning. So I hopefully will see all of you guys soon and talk to you again soon, Pink. I hope you have a great evening and you enjoy the fuck out of Cyberpunk. This is Dark Rift out.